Good evening. Do I gavel first? I was supposed to gavel. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lansing School District Board of Education regular board meeting and information study session. Today's date is April 17th, 2025. Happy Thursday, everyone. If I could have us all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wonderful. Can I have a volunteer read our district mission statement? Yes, Dr. Rodriguez.
Provide a high-quality education in a culturally safe and nurturing environment that support all students to lead purposeful and fulfilling lives.
Yes, thank you so much for reading.
It's so easy to read it from here.
Yes, it's right.
People were thinking I memorized that.
You had us all fooled. All righty. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Boyer.
Present.
Dr. Kavanagh.
Present.
Mr. Hurd. Mr. Lopez.
Present.
Mrs. Moore.
Present.
Dr. Nevarez Martinez. Dr. Rodriguez. Mrs. Strode.
Present.
Ms. Williams. Quorum is present.
Thank you so much. I am aware that Trustee Hurd will not be here this evening. Looking for Dr. Martinez. Hopefully she'll be in soon. All righty. Moving on to are there any public comments on agenda items for this evening? Seeing none. Approval of our minutes. Excuse me. May I have a motion, please?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move that the minutes be approved as presented.
May I have a second? Second. Wonderful. May the clerk please call the roll.
Mrs. Boyer.
Present. No,
Minutes.
what you want to do it again?
No, I don't want you to do it again. I've got all these voices like coming at me.
Not mine.
Vice President Lopez said, not mine. No, not your boy. We had decided that let's do this. Let's just continue with the roll call vote. Okay? For now. Thank you.
Mrs. Boyer.
Yay.
Dr. Kavanagh.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez. Mrs. Strode.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes. We are going to decide what we're going to do about the minutes, approval of the minutes, sooner or later, okay? Some days we don't, some days we do. We need to really decide if we're going to take a vote or not. I thought we stopped doing it, then I thought it was on the agenda. So thank you, everybody, for your grace on that. All righty, moving on to our presentations. We have a presentation. Superintendent, would you like to speak on that?
I would love to. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. Good evening, everyone. I'll have my comments later for the superintendent's report, but we like to do these presentations before we get into the heart of the matter because presentations like this are really really wonderful. Jessica's going to give you a lot more information, but we're going to recognize today our nationally board certified teachers. This is a really, really distinguished award. This is something that our teachers have to work very long and hard to be certified as really kind of top-notch teachers throughout the country. And we're really, really quite honored that we have so many teachers that actually fulfill this requirement. So Jessica, if you don't mind going to the podium and kind of explaining a little bit more about this, and then also, of course, to congratulate our wonderful winners who we will celebrate here publicly. Thank you.
Okay, it's on. Just checking. All right, good evening, board members, Lansing community, and our guests in the audience. Tonight it is my honor to recognize and celebrate a group of outstanding educators who have achieved one of the highest honors in the teaching profession, the National Board Certification. The National Board for Professional Teaching Standards is a rigorous voluntary certification program designed to develop, recognize, and retain accomplished teachers. It is often referred to as the gold standard of teaching credentials. In order to earn a national board certification, teachers must complete an extensive multi-year process that includes 4 main components: content knowledge, differentiation and instruction, teaching practice, and learning environment, effective and reflective practitioner. As our superintendent said, this process is not only time intensive, it often takes 1 to 3 years to complete, but it's also deeply reflective. It requires educators to examine their practice, align it with rigorous standards, and demonstrate how their teaching impacts student learning. National Board Certified teachers exemplify the very best in teaching. They are experts in their content areas, skilled in meeting the diverse needs of our students, and deeply committed to continuous improvement. Research shows that students of board certified teachers learn more and perform better. We are proud to have these dedicated professionals in our district, and tonight we celebrate their hard work, perseverance, and their excellence. It is my honor to be able to present these awards to our staff tonight, and at this time I would like to present certificates to the following educators who are nationally board certified. A little round of applause for that. So as I call up your names, if you would please come up to the podium, I'll present you with your certificate, and if you'll please stand here, and then I think they're probably going to want to get a picture with all of you. At least I think that'd be really great. So,
Got the camera ready.
all right, fantastic. All right, our first educator that I would like to present the certificate to is Regina Bloomline. She is from Everett, and she has earned her national board certification in English as a new language for early adolescence through young adulthood. Regina, please stand.
Just young, too.
That's great. All right, our next educator is Karen Hoekstra. And I know that I think she was not able to attend tonight. She was a tentative on the invite. She was really trying to work hard to get here. She is a teacher from Eastern High School, and she earned her board certification in physical education. So really proud of Karen and her accomplishments. We will make sure we get this to her. Our next educator, also from Eastern High School, is Jay Krefman, and he has earned his national board certification in mathematics, yay, for adolescents and young adults. Several of these educators, I would like to say, have had their national board certification, and some this is their second time to earn or to keep their credentials up, I guess I should say. And also, this is recognized by the state of Michigan. And so we wanted to make sure for our newcomers that are coming on, and also for people who've held these for years to come. So our next person is also from Eastern, Robin Lindell, in the area of school counseling. We have another one from Eastern High School. We have Elizabeth Perez, and this is in the area of health education, early adolescence through young adulthood. And of course, last but not least, we have a teacher from Geyer Park. This is Kathy Schrock in the area of generalist in early education for a national board certification. A lot of work.
That's a picture.
Thank you. I'll see you in a couple weeks for the Hispanic recognition.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll see you there. Yeah, thank you. Hi, thank you.
This is always so awesome to acknowledge our educators who are educating our scholars and all that good stuff. So congratulations again, and thank you so much for serving the Lansing School District. Thank you. Moving on to, we have another presentation B, our 2025 proposed general fund budget from Superintendent, please help me pronounce your name. Melema. All right, come and join us, please. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Are both of these on or only one? You know, I want to make sure for sound. Both. Okay, thank you. Alrighty, and the presentation, I know my assistant had sent out ahead of time, so that should have already been part of your packet. So we are going to kind of roll through that, if that's all right. Before I begin with the presentation, let me say thank you once again for having the opportunity to come before you tonight to discuss some of the great ways the ISD partners with some of our local districts. Obviously, we're proud of what we are doing in partnership with our local districts. We're exceptionally proud of some of the progress that's been made with our local districts. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the exceptional value that is happening here within the Lansing School District. When we're looking at some of the marks, those goals are on the wall behind me, and some of the things that are happening, it's awesome to see the achievement. It's awesome to see the success stories, and those are going to pay significant dividends for this community. So congratulations for all the hard work that this team is doing. It's duly noted. It's well-deserved. So pretty cool stuff. Also in front of you, before I begin with my presentation, I had laid down information that you may have already seen, but it's just good to keep firsthand, which is respect to the programs and services. We provide information annually on our profiles of service of how we provide that. That is specific, what you have in front of you, just for Lansing School District. Obviously, that's for last year, so that's information from last year. We add to it every year, but it's just always kind of neat to see the different ways, again, that we try to partner to make sure that we are providing great value to our local districts. So good information that's on there. Always like to be able to bring that forward, talk about it, because this is the partnership, and that's the important thing for us. So I will jump into our budget. For those of you who may not be familiar with respect to this process, Public Act 234 of 2004 specifies that intermediate school districts within the state must provide their general education budget to local boards of education by May 1st. Local boards of education have to take a resolution. We always would hope that they would be in support, that take a resolution by June 1st that is submitted back to the Board of Education for the ISD, and then our budget has to be passed by June 30th, just like any other school district here within the state. So 2004 statute still stands, and that gives me an opportunity and an excuse to be able to come out and visit lots of our local school districts. So today we are going to chat in general about the, is this my cue here? Hey, all right, perfect, thank you. I'll pay attention to that as well. All right, we're going to chat about the general fund and overview. What you will see is about $57 million that we have proposed, kind of four basic areas: our early childhood, the instructional programs, the supports we provide in instruction, as well as ways that we try to collaborate to maximize efficiencies of resources. In our budget, what you would see, our revised budget shows that we had $60 million of revenues and expenses with respect to the budget this year. Next year, again, as I mentioned, we're proposed $57 million. If you were here last year, I brought a budget that was closer to about $49 million. What changed? I think it's important to note that there were a couple of revisions. First and foremost, we've seen a continued expansion in GSRP, $6 million with respect to GSRP, which is awesome when we think about the value that's brought to our youngest learners. That's an incredible investment. Beyond that, the 97G was a statewide collaboration that is there to help provide cybersecurity protections for districts throughout the state. So super cool that we were able to be connected into that. So those were funds in, funds out. And then finally, the last item of note, and I think this is important for boards to see, is substitute costs. I wish we weren't seeing the increase that we've seen with substitute costs. It's been a continuous increase since the pandemic. Now, let me also go backwards. We probably had missed the boat prior to the pandemic, considering we were paying almost the same amount in sub fees as what I made when I came out of a teacher prep institution many, many moons ago. And so those 25 years in between, we hadn't really adjusted salary schedules. So we knew we had to adjust, but the pandemic has continued to cause challenges when we look at getting substitutes inside buildings. And of course, we know some of that is exacerbated by our continuous challenges with the teacher shortage. So we're working behind that. We want to make sure that that is an important area that we continue to collaborate around as superintendents. But when we look at what's changed, sub-services is something we have to continuously be aware of. I think many of you know that is a consortium that we provide, so that's money in, money out. So those costs are something we do all together to be able to gain the efficiencies, the economies of scale. Moving on to our next slide, what you would see are where the revenues come from. The lion's share of our revenue comes from state funds as well as those other transfers. Some of those, as I just mentioned, like the sub cost, for example. With respect to our expenses, the outgoing and other, and then our support services are the two largest areas that we've got there. So pretty straightforward with respect to where the revenues and expenses come from. We do levy a small millage, less than 0.2 mils, as part of our general fund. That is a charter millage. It brings in about $2.4 million in revenue. Beyond that, when we look at where the revenues are at, we have at this point in time, obviously, only the governor's budget. We've not really seen a budget out of the Senate. We're hopefully anticipating that will be here in the next couple weeks. The House budget that was passed is a continuation budget. We are not taking that at this point in time as necessarily an actual budget that will be negotiated. We believe that's something that will be held in abeyance until, or hopefully not, until they are unable to pass a budget. So we don't really consider that at this point in time because it hasn't provided a whole lot of information. So we have the governor's budget. That's what we've based this proposal on. And I think this is an important topic for us to continue keeping our eye on is where the governor's budget will be, where those other two budgets will come in, and then the timing. Since 2011, it's been a bipartisan effort to try to have the education budget completed by June 30th, because our budgets have to be completed by June 30th. To the best of my knowledge, in all but 2 years since 2011, there's been a bipartisan effort to have an education budget done by that point in time, and it's been successful. I will be shocked if we have the education budget done by June 30th this year. That's why I think the House passed the continuation budget, because they're expecting there are going to be challenges. I don't think that's news for anybody, but I'm just giving where my prognostication is and the best information I have in my conversations with those downtown. I think we're in for a challenging budget process. Obviously, I've been an administrator in the state long enough to remember when we never had budgets prior to that point in time. Great districts will continue to make good decisions that are in focus for their students and staff, and I believe this board will continue to do the same thing, as will our board. When we look at our expenses of what's there aren't a whole lot of changes that we have. A small change with respect to a math position. Our math scores throughout the ISD are not in the position we wish they were at. We wish they were higher. And so we're investing some funds in there. We also have to invest some funds with respect to CTE. Perkins funds requires that if your math scores are not at state average, you've got to invest more into it. So we're combining some of our general fund budgets or dollars with some of our CTE dollars to work on hiring a math consultant to continue to assist with that. Contracts are up for negotiation this year, as with many other districts, so that's something we always kind of keep out there as well. But we think that we're doing, with respect to finances, a pretty stable job. When you look at our budget, I think you'll see it's pretty stable as well. One thing I will note, we are continuing to investigate ways in which artificial intelligence can supplement, not supplant, supplement the great things that are happening inside classrooms. I think that's a really neat thing for us to be able to explore at this point in time. It's a tremendous time of innovation. When we consider both operational and instruction, there's tremendous value that we think is there. And so some of our local districts are also in this bandwagon. I know Ben and I have had some conversations. I know this is an area that you guys are looking at as well. We think it's the right spot to be at, especially as we want to influence some of these companies to make sure they aren't taking advantage of our students and staff. So let's talk about some of the areas that we've got there. The programs and services. What you'll see is $7.4 million that kind of goes into our student instructional services, the MTSS. Much of this are those systems, again, aligned, trying to make sure that we are there supporting with respect to the continuous improvement process for schools, thinking about math, thinking about literacy, thinking about science, in an area that we didn't have much prior to the pandemic, but has become an ongoing area, and that's the school mental health services. That's a big thing. That's a real big thing, as we've seen an increase in referrals every year since we have added that team. it's a challenge for our students out there, and we keep our eye on it. We want to make sure that those services are there. Those are valuable. Oops, I went too far there. Beyond that, our instructional programs, within the two of the budgets that you're going to look at that are narrowed down inside the overall budget, the two areas that are the lion's share are our early childhood programs and the instructional programs themselves. The instructional programs are primarily the substitute system and Ingham Academy, because we currently don't have the early college. Last year we had positioned ourselves well. We had done research with our partners at LCC, had deep conversations with local districts. If you remember correctly, last summer there was legislation that passed that allowed that students who graduated now attend early college, or excuse me, community colleges for free. That made us pause and try to figure out, why would dual enrollment, why would early college not be in that same spot as well? Are we spending dollars in the best way? So we paused at this point in time. We're continuing to advocate for that at a legislative level, but that's on pause. When we jump into the largest bucket inside our general fund, and it's early childhood. I mentioned that there was an initial $6 million brought in from where our budget that we brought forward at this point in time last year to where it ended up. We're going to continue to see, I believe, investments when we look at the governor's budget, and I would hope that we would have support in both the House and the Senate in this area. The value we get is tremendous. For the dollars that we invest versus the return, it's huge, makes a difference. We're keeping our eye on this because we think there's tremendous value. And obviously what Lansing School District has done in the total free pre-K for all has been fantastic. So we love how you guys have attracted students in the preschool programs, what you've done there. Our instructional services, the data that you see there, that's a lot about trying to bring data. We have significant sums of data. How do we make it manageable? How do we use it? Where do we look at ways in which we can collaborate with learning management systems and different SIS teams, as well as the AI that we're doing? And then finally, our last bucket there is the other, and that's a lot of our tech work, as well as the collaborative services that we provide. Where many districts, we might provide business services, tech services, communication services, pupil accounting, those type of collaborative services that districts are in the need of. So those are kind of the big budgets that are out there. As I referenced, we bring this to you, we move our board meeting in April up to make sure we bring it to you early. We ask for a resolution of support by June 1st. We will be making our budget decisions prior to July 1st as is statutorily required. What questions might you have that I can answer?
Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Jason, for the presentation, first and foremost. I have one question, A and B. So is this budget for all the ISDs that we see listed, Masons.com and all of them, or is this budget just for the Lansing area?
So this is just for Ingham Intermediate School District.
Right. When I say when I say the ISDs, everybody that's collaborative, and so Mason, all of that.
Yep, the 12 traditional districts within the ISD. Yes, ma'am.
So what percentage of that would be considered what you're asking Lansing for? I know we have to approve the overall, but what percentage would be for Lansing?
So what, of the dollars that are listed in this, how much is this directed to Lansing? Is that what you're asking? Lansing doesn't contribute as far as there isn't anything out of your budget that comes towards this.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Although, if you'd like to contribute, I wouldn't. If you want to leave a donation, I'm more than willing. If you're generous.
Nope, we're not. No.
I would like to be Mr. Lopez. Thank you very, very much. Every year with this positive attitude, you are coming in front of this board for approval of the budget. And, I had to clean in my papers sometimes, and I find out yesterday you report to the community. And really, that is so transparency to the community for the 12 districts that you serve. Besides that, I want to congratulate your administration and our administration for the smooth transition for Beekman Center. I think that is a sample in how educators can work together. And I hope that we continue that, because it's our kids, it's our young people that need help, and we need to be together. And we know that we are going to need this collaboration in the future. The community, the same thing. I asked them to be alert. The Beekman Center is a precious place for our students to be there and to take care of the students that need the most. Then we had to be sensitive and to be really generous in that particular work for the education and all. But congratulations to your administration and our administration here, because was at the beginning kind of not clear, but after that, you know, we are all working together. Thank you, Madam President.
Have one.
Yeah. Vice President Lopez?
Thank you. Not doctor?
Not tonight.
You probably are asked this question all the time, but Waverly School District, isn't that in county?
Yes, sir.
So is it part of your,
Yes.
how did that happen?
Well, I don't know if I can give you an exact history to that, but I can probably give you an approximate history. The ISDs were created in statute in 1962. At that point in time, districts kind of had to make a decision with respect to where they would end up. I would believe that aspects of the Waverly district, because we have many districts, not just Waverly, that exist within multiple counties. So we actually are spread into 7 different counties with our 12 traditional districts. And my assumption at that point in time is that the leaders within inside that district believed that they probably held a closer community of interest with respect to those in the Ingham area than possibly some of the other outlying areas. I think RESA, which is the RESA to our west of us, was probably not as developed at that point in time, probably didn't have as many large districts, and so my guess is they probably wanted to collaborate. I don't know that for a fact, but that's my best assumption going back to the history of when ISDs were around.
That's good, thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Yes, Trustee Stroh.
Awesome. I know that one thing that I love to hear about is how much we have been able to support the GSRP, and knowing that that continues to be something that we know supports our families, as well as would potentially be continuing in the budget and pass through the House and Senate. We know that as a community, there's been some things coming down the pipeline that may have caused some alarming concerns surrounding the preschool and continuing to have those programs housed and funded. My first question is, can you speak to just a little bit of that breakdown for the community and those folks watching as to maybe some secureness surrounding that portion?
So I'll speak to the best that I can, and I'll jump into what I believe you're directing this towards, and this Head Start.
Mm-hmm.
So there is deep concern from us throughout the state. In fact, this was a conversation at our superintendent meeting this morning about the concerns that has happened with respect to federal support for Head Start. There's been some discontinuation of some of the services at the federal level, and that is alarming when we consider some of our most vulnerable populations and the supports that are provided to those students. So we've been advocating on that behalf. In fact, I took a call from our executive director of early childhood prior to this meeting to talk exactly about this, because I knew she was at a meeting with state officials today from MyLeap to discuss where some of their plans were at. And if I remember correct, there are over 200 students from the Lansing School District that are served by Head Start. So this is a real problem for us. We need to continue to elevate and bring forward. Within the Lansing School District, I know that you have blended and braided programs through your GSRP. Some of those are GSRP with tuition, some of those are GSRP with tuition and Head Start. And so that makes a difference when we consider programming. MyLeap's advice today was for districts to continue with their plans for programming, with Head Start being a partner. So that's the best advice I have from the state. We will continue to lift this up and advocate for this, because this is an important topic for us. Beyond that, and I'll hit one more topic, just opening the door when we talk about some of the federal issues that I'm bringing forward when I speak to our local boards, is Medicaid. So in aggregate, $6 million is brought into the intermediate school district for Medicaid services. And that isn't just at the ISD. Those are services between our 12 traditional districts. Medicaid is being heavily discussed with inside Congress with respect to potential changes. The Medicaid services, the Medicaid fee-for-services that we receive are for those students with special education services that have been provided. In other words, if I had an IEP that said that I was to receive 30 minutes of occupational therapy services every 2 weeks, the IEP says I must have those services. If they cut the Medicaid dollars, it doesn't change the IEP. My concerns are real because $6 million would be a significant blow to all of our districts. We have rallied as intermediate school districts throughout the state. We've looked at this up. In fact, the governor even spoke to the challenges with Medicaid today. The report that Superintendent Schuldiner and I got this morning is that we finally started to see some pushback from some of the Republican congressmen and women, that they're concerned about cuts to Medicaid, but we are lifting this up as loud and as far as we can because those services are real. It makes a difference when we think about what we're doing for our kids and our community. So those are two areas that I have some pretty big concerns.
And thank you so much for being able to have that transparency and openness surrounding that conversations, because we do hear it in the media. There's parents who have had concerns, and we continue to advocate and give the best that we can. So thank you for lifting that. The only thing that I have a question to, and this is also another thing where we may have a pin in it, right? Because there's things coming down the pipeline. When we talk about that June 30th date, what is the potential workaround or barriers that you see based off of what's coming down as to why we would not have that completed? I know we speak about it in code here, but for those watching, when we say there's a possibility that may or may not happen by that deadline, can you just speak to that just a little bit more for us?
So I think Superintendent Schulden and I have a good relationship with our local legislators. We've been down there together advocating at different times on certain topics. And the pulse that we have with local legislators is there's concern that the House and Senate may not be on the same page. And many times by April 15, we not only have the governor's budget, but we at least have one other leg in the stool of a budget that's there. So the fact that we have neither of those legs in the stool is concerning from my lens as a superintendent. Now, it's not the only time, but it starts to be concerning. And especially when you start to hear some of the delays that are happening, it makes me worry because the process takes time after the budgets are delivered. Now, the Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference is still set for May. After that point in time, usually they get very serious. But if we haven't seen a budget from either the House or the Senate, indications right now is that the Senate will be there before the House. We don't know when the House is intending. That's my best intel right now. If they haven't delivered a budget prior to the Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference, which tells us exactly how much money we've got in the budget, it's going to be hard to have honest negotiations. So I think this is something we need to continue to work with as superintendents to try to encourage and emphasize that it is significantly better for us in education to have these budgets completed prior to July 1st, but I'm just also preparing that they may not be possible during this year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and for lifting that and clarifying that. I certainly understand and see the paths that is happening before our eyes here. And so when we get to talking about funding and budget and noticing the media and the things that is occurring, we want to just speak to those things and give our community a little bit of safety and security around that. So hopefully that clears that up for us and the people that's watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Trustee Boyer, yes.
Hello, good evening. Thanks so much for coming tonight. I know it's been a long day for everybody. So I just have some quick questions just on some information. You talked really fast and I loved it. It was awesome. So really quickly, on slide number 4, you stated the general fund budget for both years includes recently expanded initiatives to directly support pre-K. And I know we say that often, like, oh, there are supports. Could you please take a few moments to talk about those expanded initiatives?
So much of this is around the number of classrooms that are being served within the ISD. Oh, now they just caught up. I was trying to go backwards for you. I think I went too far now. I want to get to the right slide. Here we go. All right. With respect to early childhood and the services that are there, if you were to go back not even 5 years ago, we did not have near the amount of students that are being served in GSRP classrooms throughout this ISD. And so our staff has worked very diligently with not only our local school districts, but also community-based organizations to talk about the value that early childhood programming brings. And so we've worked to expand to make sure that we are doing the best that we can to notify our communities, the parents within our communities, of the opportunities of free pre-K for all. In a perfect world, we'd have 85% of our students attending. We're not to that level yet. Now, some of that is because we still have parents throughout the ISD, so not just here within the Lansing School District, but throughout the ISD. Some of that is because we have parents who make choices to go to either private preschools, private daycares, things of that sort as well. So it doesn't necessarily mean that students aren't being served in that capacity, but we want to make sure that we provide this as an opportunity that's out there, because this is something we tremendously value, and we know that the curriculum within inside the GSRP programs is a vetted curriculum that is based on making sure that students are prepared for making the step into kindergarten. And so when we think about that, that's super cool. We also want to consider there are significant other programs and services within inside our early childhood. We have the Great Parents Great Start program, we have the Great Start Collaborative, which are very much centered around engaging with families and communities to try to lift up the values and services that are there. So our early childhood programs actually start at birth. They don't start with GSRP. So we actually run play groups for parents to help to talk about what is valuable ways to interact with students and get them socially engaged. We work on prenatal care. We have services that go out for community engagement that we are continuing to focus on. We have a grant for that we are working with the Tri-County area to talk about how to engage on this topic more holistically. And we're continuing to look at early on services for students with special needs. If we can identify students at a younger age, we can provide services that quite often then either mitigate or reduce some of the challenges they might be having with special needs. So those are all functions within our early childhood program. We have over 75 staff members that work within that department that are spread out throughout the ISD. So that has continued to grow with some of the funding that's been available.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just for clarification, because I'm wrapping we are not approving this budget. We are simply saying as a board whether we support or disapprove. So like you would be able to say, the Lansing School District Board of Education supports this budget, right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure those who are watching and that those who are here understand that your budget does not stop with us.
Correct. So
yes, so I just want to clarify
all
that.
12 locals, we ask for a resolution of support. Our board will make the final decision at our meeting on June 16th is the schedule for our board meeting, our budget meeting, I should say. If it's not a resolution of support, you're actually asked to explain why as part of that when you send it back, so that way as an ISD we're aware.
Yeah, I saw that. If we disapprove, we're supposed to give you changes.
So we have feedback.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure. So I like that. 3 more questions, very quickly. So on slide 5, you have your general fund expenses, outgoing and other. And knowing that this is something that we're going to say, hey, we support this general fund expenses. What exactly falls in that? Because I see instructional programs 26%, support services 35%, and then outgoing and other. Can you give us some things that are considered that outgoing?
So I can hit on a couple of things right away. So the 97G grant that I referenced, which is the MySecure, this has been a multi-year grant. We've received about $9 million from the state. We have collaborated with MAISA, which is the executive association that supports ISDs throughout the state, as well as tech directors from around the state to provide the cybersecurity protections. So there's a base layer of support for districts throughout the state. That would be a direct example of other dollars, right? So there are services that we provide, transportation services, we have consortiums. We have consortiums, again, for technology services, business services, communication services, payroll services. Those are things that could be outgoing and other as well. So there's a tremendous amount that we spend that can be cyclical in nature that can come from both sides. So it's a matter in some ways of the function that's out there. And I actually have that chart up so you can kind of see where some of those others are at.
Appreciate that. Second to last question. On slide number 6, you said revenues decreased from 2024 to 25, mainly due to a one-time MySecure grant. And so is that an annual grant that we can apply for? Oh, no. Okay. So it was just a one-time.
That's the 97G. MySecure is the cybersecurity grant. We applied for that a couple of years ago. We were successful in getting that, again, on a statewide basis. Those dollars directly flow then back to the state organizations that are doing that work. Our belief is with proof of concept to demonstrate how many cyber attacks have been thwarted, that we'll be able to go forward here in the future and bring that. We are still in, so we're kind of, this last year was our first year of implementation. We have record of the documentation of how many cybersecurity attacks have been stopped, including, I can give examples of districts not too far from here in which there were bad actors that were actually inside their systems. It was detected. They were stopped. The crazy thing is the email works and the internet works, so nobody realizes you just stopped an attack. Had that been continued, you've seen for districts within our media area what has happened when cyber attacks have hit, and those districts are down for days. There's a direct impact on instruction. There's an impact on families. And so our base, when we look at 97G, has been how do we protect the things that you need to operate a school? When we think about HVAC systems, electrical systems, security systems, just those base things. If we can protect those base things, we can at least get kids into spots where we believe that caring individuals, like those that you highlighted earlier, and you talk about the National Board Certification, they can take care of kids. So those are dollars that came in. We are spending those right now. We have some amazing data, and we've shared that with legislators already. And so we'll probably a year from now be advocating to try to talk about this, is why that should be ongoing.
Thank you. And then last question, because we have this nice,
Yes.
I love this.
Thank you.
Can you speak some to this? Because there are numbers at the bottom, like payments from the Ingham ISD, as well as talking about special education.
Yeah, so we have a unique funding formula with respect to our special education dollars. So there's about $105 million that is brought in an aggregate for the ISD for special education. Those are between state funds, IDEA funds, as well as local taxes. About 50 million of those dollars actually flow back to our local districts based on the formula that we have. So what you're seeing there are part of the dollars that directly flow back to districts based on the formula that is set up. We have spent the last 3 years as superintendents working through how to improve that formula. We are happy to say at this point in time we have submitted that to MDE for their approval. That's been there now for I think the last 3-4 months. And we will hopefully have an approval here within the next couple of months to be able to continue to move forward. But there was a lot of work that was spent in trying to create a system that was more equitable, that reflected the challenges of what we're serving with students today, because that formula had not been updated since 1998. And so reflecting the differences of students that we serve as well when we think about the identifications of where students are at. And just overall, how do we set up a structure that's going to be able to continue to be able to be collaborative, especially when we think about changes in spots like Beekman and how that works as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Trustee Boyer. I do have a question if any other board members, if you don't have any questions. I would like you to share what Project Search student enrollment would be, and also North Star students enrollment. I am so unfamiliar with that.
All right, so I'm going to come back to Project Search in just a second.
Okay.
Put a pin in that. I'll come back to it. North Star is the program that we operate for students with emotional impairments.
Okay.
And so we had, when the program started, which was now 18 years ago, it was started in a trailer. It lasted in there for 17 years. When we purchased the trailer, it was 28 years old and given a 2-year life expectancy. With the support of superintendents here in the ISD, when we restored the aspects of erosion that had happened to our special education millage due to Headley, we used funds from that to actually create the North Star School, so they had an intentional spot and those students had some dignity. Because operating inside a trailer that flooded on a regular basis was a huge problem. And so it's a neat school. There are staff that are out there. In some ways it operates very much as a day treatment program, as we have great partnerships with CMH. But those are students that are served inside our North Star School. I would love to have you out and tour at some point in time. We cut the ribbon, not this past August, but August of, what was it, 23. So really cool. Project Search is one of the most fun things that we get a chance to do. These are students that are transition-based students, so they would have to be students with special needs that are over the age of 18. Project Search comes to us as an international organization started through the Cleveland Clinic that talks about an intense one-year apprenticeship process for students to be able to gain real-world experience. And the goal is, when they graduate, they've got jobs.
Wonderful.
And so we had 2 Project Search sites. One was at the state of Michigan. One was at Michigan State University. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit, and we lost the site in the state of Michigan. It's one of the reasons I would love for the state employees to come back, because we had tremendous success there. We still maintain the site at MSU. It's super cool to see what those students do, but from navigating buses to working on how to actually fill out forms from applications to the real world experiences they are getting inside from veterinarians' offices to food service to we've seen students that have assisted actually with inside regular office structures and sometimes inside laboratories. Some of these students are incredibly amazing doing repetitive tasks. Things that we might find boring after a while, they're fantastic with. And so Project Search is a cool thing. We actually help organize that statewide, and so there are sites throughout the state, but we are proud to have one right here that we collaborate with Michigan State on.
And I love to see your excitement talking about these projects. Thank you so much for sharing. Are there any other questions for Superintendent this evening? Jason, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you,
All
thank
righty.
you. I appreciate the collaboration. Thanks, man.
All righty. And we will be able to vote on this later under our new business on our agenda this evening. Moving on to our officer reports. I have Dr. Kavanaugh, would you please report for our secretary this evening, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So the Secretary's report for April 17th, 2025. First, some communications and announcements. On April 25th, there is no school. On May 9th, there is no school. It's a professional development day. The 2025-26 transportation application is now open for existing district families. The transportation application is available on ParentView, and please have that submitted by July 13th. Again, that's for existing district families. On May 14th, join us for the party celebrating Reading is Fundamental, or RIF's 50th birthday. That celebration will be at 4 p.m. in Francis Park. And lastly, the next 3 meetings of the Board of Education will be on May 1st, we'll have a regular board meeting. On May 15th, we'll have a regular board meeting and an informational study session. And on June 5th, we will have a regular board meeting. That concludes the secretary announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Kavanaugh.
President?
Yes.
I
Dr.
have a
Rodriguez.
question about the transportation application available. Can we, how the families are going to find out? Do we have a plan or in the schools, or how we are going to do that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so the parents have had many information attacks, be it emails, phone calls, whatever, but I'm happy to turn it over to Christina to talk all the different ways that we've let the families know.
While she's getting the mic, I also seen it in our parent newsletter. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we are regularly sending out weekly text messages, information updates through Parent Square, emails to all of our parents to remind them to fill out the application for next year. So we keep giving them updates on that. Obviously, we've mentioned it now at a couple of board meetings, so it's another avenue that we're doing. We have information posted on our website, and we are translating information for parents as well through Parent Square to the text messages. And just a reminder for all parents, if you have a gas card, please hang on to it for next year and do not get rid of it.
All righty. Dr. Rodriguez?
No, that is great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know, how we can tell the parents?
That's right. Thank you.
Then this is no question that I coming from heaven. No, it's something we need to know. The board need to know. The parents ask me, then I can tell them, hey, you had to read, you had to go here, you had to go there. But for me, don't know it will be not doing my job. But thank you very much for asking.
No, thank you. Yes, Trustee Williams.
So it says that it's in Parent View, and I was sitting here playing with it to make sure. It didn't come up in Parent View, but I see that it's a PDF. When you open the PDF, it takes you someplace else. So can we make sure that that's working?
Right. So it is meant to work like that. It goes to an external application. So when you click on it in parent view, it is meant to have a pop up and then take you to an external application through
So
there.
is it supposed to take you to books? Because that's where it took me, something called books.
Nope. I'll double check it. I was just in it today and I didn't experience that issue. So I'll double check it again.
And I'll show you shortly.
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you. All righty. There's no more questions about our secretary report. Moving on to B, our facilities committee, Vice President Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
Well, the Facilities Committee met on April 14th at 12:05 p.m. and adjourned at 12:36 p.m. We did receive information on the updates on Mount Hope and Willow. In Mount Hope, the fencing was underway, and I think it's already done. They were also working on curbs and gutters. Also, they have placed the sidewalks on most of the space. And certainly at the drop-off, bus drop-offs. They're also working on the cafeteria and hallways. So it looks really great as they're putting the finishing touches on this school. In Willow, the entrance has been worked on, and it's got a big W for Willow. So it's got a, could also be Westlaco, could be. They're working on the office space areas, and they're working on the outside walls, etc. Also, they've got a lot of MEPs going on, mechanical, electric, and plumbing that is going in. So it's looking good. They've got some. Also the work on solar panels is going to be initiated pretty soon. I'm not. It's not yet there, but solar panels will go up on this school. That was the update on the schools. Going to the bid requests. We have, and they're in your packet. We have one for Hill Center renovation summer 2025. This is to storage trailer. Let's see, commercial moving. Okay, this is for the moving company that's going to move stuff out of there and then put it back. So this is for Corrigan Moving Systems. They've been doing a lot of work for the district right now, so they're pretty much know the ins and outs. So that's one. The next one is also moving services for Luton to Wood Creek. And this fund, the first one is the CT fund. This one is from the bond fund, 22 bond fund. The moving services, the same for Mount Hope. At Wood Creek to New Mount Hope. Again, this is from the bond money. The next one is purchase of service refrigerated van, and I'm going to pull that out of here because I need to recuse myself on this. So we're going to have to vote on it separately. Okay. Following them, we have the bid package work category 2A, demolition and abatement at Wood Creek. And this is for GSRP renovations. We had two vendors, Asbestos Abatement Inc. from Lansing kept the lowest bid. These are from sinking fund. The next one is the work category 4A masonry for Wood Creek again. Again, this is a sinking fund expense. We have the 08A aluminum wood window. This is for Wood Creek. GSRP renovation. This is Aaron Glass of Lansing. It's a low bid and it's a sinking fund expense. We have the Wood Creek, again, GSRP carpentry work and interiors. This one is sinking funds and Integrity Interiors from Lansing is lowest bid. We have the Wood Creek, again, continued renovations, floor covering. So Superior floor covering is recommended with the lowest bid. Sinking fund as well. The continuing with Wood Creek GSRP renovations. This is for painting. Niles Construction Services of Flint was awarded this contract, was recommending this contract. This also sinking fund. The next one is still for Wood Creek GSRP. This is for specialties. And I think there's doors and, door handles and stuff like that. Christina?
This one's actually for whiteboards and cork boards in the classrooms.
Okay. This was recommending Product Resource Company out of Lansing. Continuing with GSRP is Mechanical and Plumbing. A.J. Miller Mechanical Inc. out of Lansing was the lowest bidder. A sinking fund. Wood Creek continuing with electrical and technical category. Hanna Electric LLC from Eden Rapids was the lowest bid on this project. And that's a sinking fund expense. We have the work category 31A, site work for Wood Creek. This is recommended for Anderson Fisher and Associates out of Mason, and it's a sinking fund expense. Next, we have the for Wood Creek, Sexton door replacements. Category 8A is doors, frames, glazing, hardware. So Aaron Glass is again the recommended company, contractor, and that's out of the sinking fund. The following is the interior work for Sexton door replacement and air conditioning. Integrity Interiors out of Lansing is a recommended contractor. And then we have the painting, again for Sexton. The Niles Construction Services out of Flint is the recommended contractor. Sinking fund expense, and then we had the mechanical work at Sexton, and Miller Dalton LLC out of Jackson was the lowest bidder, and it's a sinking fund expense. And finally, we had the electrical work at Sexton, and this is Hanna Electric is the recommended candidate, contractor again from sinking fund. Those are the contracts we reviewed, or the proposal results, and they're here for your consideration for approval.
Thank you so much, Vice President. Lots of work is getting done. I love that. Looking forward to seeing the outcome, the results. So thank you so much for that. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve items A through F as presented?
Madam President.
Oh, goodness.
No, we can't, because he has to recuse himself.
Oh,
So we can't do them all.
okay.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm requesting that item, the purchase of food service refrigerated van
Yes.
be pulled,
D.
because I'll be abstaining from that vote because a family member of mine works for the company that we're purchasing the van from. Okay.
Okay. So that means can I have a motion for the board to approve items A through C. And then can I go down to the next? Okay, A through C. May I have a motion? I mean,
You need a motion?
yes, I need a motion.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve items A through C.
Okay, hopefully I'm not confused. So it was moved by Boyer and second by Williams.
You could list all of them except for the one that you're going to say.
Oh, duh. Okay, thank you. D, E, yeah,
I can
yeah,
say
yeah.
it again. So A through C and then E through F.
Yes. So do I need to go back and I can just? Okay, state it that way. Thank you. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve everything A through, everything but D?
Madam
From
President,
yes.
I move that the Board of Education approve items A through C and
Yes.
E through F as presented.
Thank you. Moved by Trustee Boyer. I thought that's what I said. Moved by Trustee Boyer, second by Trustee Williams. Is there any discussion at this time on the bids? I had a question. I was looking at Sexton's recommendation for their doors. There's quite a few doors, and it says front door. I'm like, how many front doors does Sexton have? I just know that main front door. So
Yep.
could you?
I think there's around 8, but we're looking at the main entrance. We're just doing some additional work on that main entrance, just a little bit of follow-up work. But the majority of this work is actually brand new doors in the stairwells and the transition areas within Sexton.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And so what about the air conditioning?
That is in the annex.
Just in the annex?
Yeah,
okay.
so the annex has partial air conditioning right now. About a third of it has AC, so we're going to complete that portion this summer, and then look forward to potential AC in future years.
Okay, so we're just breaking down the air conditioning, okay, for
Yep.
Sexton. Understood, Sexton is huge.
Yes, it is.
All righty, that was my questions. Is there any other questions in regards to our bids? Okay, could the clerk please call a roll call vote?
Mrs. Boyer,
Yes?
Dr. Kavanagh,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez, Mrs. Strode,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Motion passes 7-0. Yeah, that's right, 7-0, perfect. All righty, whew. Can I say it again? Whew. All righty, moving on to.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am?
I would like to make a motion that the Board of Education approve item D as presented.
Oh, you bless your heart for going back. All righty. All righty, I love that. So it was moved by Trustee Kavanaugh to approve item D, and it was seconded by Trustee Williams. Any discussion about D?
Madam President,
Yes, Vice President
for
Lopez.
the record, I'm abstaining from this vote.
Thank you.
I'm recusing, not abstaining. I'm recusing from this vote as a family member who works for this company.
Thank you for your integrity. I appreciate that. All righty. No discussions? May the clerk please call the roll. Again.
Mrs. Boyer,
Yes.
Dr. Kavanagh,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez, Mrs. Strode,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Motion passes 6-0. Perfect. All righty. Whew, can I say it again? Moving on to our superintendent report.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm getting used to being at the end of most of the business, but it's nice because it allows me to kind of speak on some of the things that have already been done. I want to start with the transportation because it was one of the conversations we had, and I have good news. As of the 16th of April, we have 2,442 requests for gas cards and 2,440 assigned gas cards. So there's only two out, and usually there is a little bit of a lag, 1 or 2 days. CATA is actually a perfect 615 to 615, but the good news is that with the Dean routed, we have 3,448 routed with 3,634 requests, which means that not only we're below 300, but we are now below 200 in terms of our not routed, routed. We have 186 as of, again, April 16th that are not routed. And again, as a reminder, that doesn't mean that they can't go to school. It's that the families are either using the gas cards or the CATA cards, but still would like a Dean transportation ride. But again, my promise to this community has always been to highlight this until we get that to zero. But the good news is really over spring break, there was a time to kind of settle, look at the numbers, look at the routes, and we were able to bring the unrouted numbers from over 300 to now below 200. So we're pretty proud of that. Again, we owe it to every family to be able to get to school efficiently and easily, and we are certainly working on that. You heard a conversation from the superintendent of the ISD and our wonderful board about Head Start. One of the things I want to make sure the community knows is that we work very, very closely with Head Start. We are thrilled with our relationship with Dr. Nobles. We're thrilled with our relationship with the local Head Start programs. They are using Harley Franks. They're using Kendon. We work very closely with them. But we do know that there is some possibility of some federal cuts, federal changes, and I want to make sure that anybody listening at home and certainly any board member knows that if you know a family that is in Head Start that needs any sort of support, if anything happens, please know that we are at the ready. One of the things about having universal pre-K, one of the things about having the space and having the teachers is that we are able to support these children. But again, nothing has happened yet, but I want to make sure that people know that if something does happen, please, please, please reach out to your Head Start folks. They will reach out to us, or feel free to reach out to us directly. There's a lot going on in Washington, D.C. Typically, federal education policy doesn't impact as much on the local level, but with things like Head Start and things like Title I, Title II, etc., those things do impact us. So I don't want anybody to get scared or nervous or think that something is occurring yet in our district, but we always are hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. So if anybody is associated with or has children in Head Start, please, please, please feel free to always talk to us, and we will support you as best we can. And again, I want to give a big shout out to our local Head Start folks, Dr. Nobles and others who have really been really great partners. Nalana has been a terrific partner, and we thank her and her staff for that. The last thing I want to point out is today we celebrated these wonderful, amazing teachers who got the national board certified. I appreciate very much what Jessica said about how intensive this is, 1 to 3 year process. But to put this in perspective, 0.61% of teachers in Michigan are nationally board certified. We're actually the 46th state. So we are one of the lowest, the 5th lowest, right? So we are the 46th state in terms of percentage of teachers that are nationally board certified. The fact that we had 6 just today that we are recognizing means that's already 1% of the certified teacher pool. I think we have something like 598 teachers in that pool. 6 would be already more than 1%. So the fact that, we as a Lansing school district have almost double what the average in the state of Michigan is something that I think people should really be proud of. For whatever reason, there might be a sense that the education in Lansing is not as good as it truly is, but when you look at facts like that, where we have that many nationally board certified, which is so much higher and so much better than the state average, I hope that really shows you that our teachers are really working not only to support the children in the classroom today, but bettering themselves as educators to be even better tomorrow. And so I really want to congratulate those, and also to note that we have something like 4 or 5, I don't know the exact number, that are actually in a program with Teach Michigan to continue to get their certification as well. So even if we got 4 more, and that would bring us to 10, now you're talking about, well past, doubling what the state of Michigan's average is. It is really tremendous. We're very honored to have such terrific teachers, and I hope that what that speaks to in the community is we are trying to really push our staff, and our staff wants to push themselves. This is a volunteer program to become better in the classroom, to support our kids. And, all I say, and I've said this a lot lately, is, it's time for the community, please come visit. If you've been away, come see our schools. Come see the amazing work that's happening in the facilities, seeing what happens in the classroom, see our programs, our sports teams, our music programs. I was just at Dwight Rich the other day, and their music program, they now have 4 full classes of band. It's something we haven't had in years. Just know that we are getting there, and I want the community to really know and to reach out so that you can come see the great work. I mean, you've got the work on the walls to prove it. You've got the district goals on the walls to prove it. But we understand that the district is still thinking, they're still questioning, they're still looking with a little bit of a suspect eye, but the greatest thing is the proof is when you see it. So please know that, transportation's getting better, our teachers are really nationally board certified, we're doing all these things, we've got universal pre-K, we're moving really forward on a lot of things, and please just come visit. If there's a school in your neighborhood that you've been thinking about, like, well, maybe I should take a look for my kid, just knock on the door, just call us, just reach out, because we want you to see the great things that are going on in the district. So I really want to thank the board. I want to thank the community for moving us forward in such a great way. And with that, concludes my report. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent. Wonderful. All righty. Moving on. Yes. Did you have a question?
I'm so sorry, Madam President. I do. Mm-hmm. So I can you speak possibly, or Jessica, what may be hurdles that maybe some teachers are maybe hesitant to become nationally board certified, and how we can encourage them as parents and the community, please?
That's a great question. I'll start, and then I'll turn it over to Jessica. So thank you so much for asking that question. It's a lot of work. This is an intensive program where they actually videotape themselves teaching. They have to write. They have to do a lot. So I appreciate if you're a first, second year, third year teacher, you're just trying to get your legs underneath you. But we actually have been, with a partnership with Teach Michigan, have been incentivizing and supporting teachers to do this. But it is a hard job. It's hard to get there. And I mean, Jess, you know the program even better than I do. So.
When I was a teacher, I had colleagues go through this, and when we say it's intensive, that doesn't even capture the spirit of this. It is exceptionally intensive, lots and lots of time commitment. The Teach for America program that we're a part of is really great because they get to be part of a cohort. So I do feel like they at least have colleagues to lean on and encourage each other, and they have mentors in the program. So I do think that is one of the reasons why we're seeing many of our Lansing teachers now getting board certified or thinking about it. But if you're on your own, as they have been in years past, it is very difficult. I remember one of the teachers in my school had binders literally this tall, full of documents and prep and for portfolios and things. So they do find it super rewarding, especially when you can go through with a cohort. So I do think Teach for Michigan has been wonderful to have in our district, to be able to have those people to lean on and say, what are you working on and how are you doing that? So I think the isolation in some cases across the state of Michigan could be difficult. So we're really happy to have cohorts of people going through now. But I really do think it is time is the big commitment. I do know that the state of Michigan is incentivizing this for teachers, so that teachers with board certification do receive $10,000 in addition to their salaries per year. So there is a push in Michigan to have teachers go through the program, but it really is just a commitment of time, because in some cases it can take up to 3 years to get this. So
and that's the reason why only 0.61% of teachers, in Michigan are doing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great.
No questions? All righty. Moving on to our new business. On our agenda, we have the Ingham Intermediate School District proposed general fund budget. May I have a motion?
Madam President.
Ooh, here we go again. Trustee Strode.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education express its support for the Ingham Intermediate School District proposed general fund budget as presented.
It was moved by Trustee Strode, second by, I think it was Trustee Boyer. All righty. Any discussion on that? Anyone?
I'd like to highlight.
Yes.
I'd just like to highlight. There we go. Mic's on. I'd just like to highlight a few things that was captured tonight surrounding the approval, support to move with this decision. I think it was very clear capture of what we are doing and the proposed movements, even with some of the challenges that are being faced coming down the pipeline with budget changes and et cetera. We still are doing extremely well when it comes to our budget. We're in a really good spot, and I think that goes to how hard our teams are working to ensure we're in a good space. So I think the approval of this is a testament to that, and we do know that there are plans in place of action in the event that things may or may not come down later that affects our district. So thank you.
Thank you for lifting that, Trustee Strode. Any other
Just a quick question, and
Yes.
this might be for Ben because you're in contact with Jason. So this document, it provided 23, 24. Do you know when maybe 24, 25 would come out, like the numbers, when they're usually reported?
I don't, this is
Okay.
certainly run by them, but what I can say is I think they handed this out about 2 months ago, so
Okay.
my feeling would be,
It's up to date.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, could the clerk please call roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Boyer,
Yes.
Dr. Kavanagh,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez, Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mrs. Strode,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Wonderful. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to our public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have any this evening? Okay, wonderful. Now we are, can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Madam President.
Yes.
I move that the Board of Education recess into closed session for the purpose of considering material exempt from disclosure as is permitted in the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you. It was moved by Dr. Kavanaugh and seconded by Vice President Lopez. We are now in closed session at 7:17. Yes. Oh, you are amazing. I thank you. And that's the audience, y'all. Yes. May the clerk please call a roll call vote.
Mrs.
Sorry.
Boyer,
You can't call a closed session without citing a specific reason under the Open Meetings Act.
She cited the reason.
I so don't want to be rude, but you have to say a specific reason.
She
to
cited.
say material exemptions.
Pardon 1 second.
She cited the reason.
Yes, we cited the reason. It's on our, thank you so much.
I'm not going to do anything about it, but I just wanted to let you know.
May the clerk please call the roll.
Mrs. Boyer,
Yes.
Dr. Kavanagh,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mrs. Strode.
I'd say yes, but I also, can I clarify while we're going through the yes? It was clear that the purpose is on the agenda, and I just want to let you know that it is considering material exempted from disclosure as permitted in the Opens Meeting Act. So I'll let you clear that up there. And yes.
Thank you so much, Trustee Strode, for clarification, and it's clear. All
Ms.
right.
Williams.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. We are now going into closed session at 7:18. Thank you very much.
So moved.
All right. Moved by Trustee Dr. Kavanaugh, seconded by Trustee Dr. Rodriguez. May I have a roll call vote?
Trustee Boyer,
Yes.
Dr. Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez not present. Mrs. Moore. Dr. Rodriguez. Mrs. Strode,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Motion passes 6-0. We are now in closed session at 7:24.
I just, because the last board meeting I was at, I did have a conversation with Ben. And so I want to make sure that I stated, in regard to how comments were taken and then addressed, that in no way, shape, or form am I questioning our superintendent's character or any impropriety. And I want to go on record by saying that, because I do not want anyone to look at this board as if we are trying to catch our superintendent up. That is disrespectful, and I believe it diminishes the effect and the work that we are trying to accomplish in this district. And so I just wanted to go on record with that. And so I did talk to Ben and just saying that was not my intent, and I want to go on record with that. You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, Trustee Boyer. Dr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. I attended the governor meeting with the students at Eastern High School. I talked with every one of the students that were there. Were about 12, and every one of them goes to the university, 9 to Michigan State University, 2 to Lansing Community College, and 1 to the club over there in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the University of Michigan. But the speaker, the student speaker, was one of the best speeches that I hear from anybody. And if you have without the students like that, I mean, these students, they have their life for success in the future, thanks to the Lansing School District. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. Are any other questions or comments from our board members this evening? Dr. Kavanaugh?
Thank you. Very quickly. I just want to lift that a few days ago, the governor made an announcement in Eastern High School relevant to students across the state, but of particular interest perhaps to students in our district, which is that there, if you fill out your FAFSA, so that is the form that you fill out in order to get financial aid when you go to college. If you fill out your FAFSA, and then if you text a number, I think it's like 855-50K tickets. If you text that number, then you will be entered into a drawing for, there's a few $10,000 winners and a few $50,000 winners that would then be put into your student's education account. So just by filling out the FAFSA, which is a great idea to do anyway, if you have a student who is college bound and interested in what sort of financial aid package they can get, just by doing that, you can be entered to win this additional money from the state. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great incentive for students who are interested in financial aid for college. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kavanaugh. Jada, I hope you heard that. That's my daughter. Trustee Strode.
Yes, very quickly too, that was a great participation. We were able to go to and support our students and have conversations about their excitement for higher learning. So go ahead and text those numbers. I do want to uplift, earlier in this meeting, we were able to recognize our teachers who were able to be nationally certified. And that is such a big, big, big deal for our district. And we want to continue to encourage our fellow teachers who have not had that opportunity just yet to go for it. We are excited about learning in this district and growing with our staff and the teams here. So I just wanted to uplift that. We were so excited to recognize them again earlier in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Strode. It's amazing to celebrate our educators and our scholars. I'm so excited. Any other comments from our board members? Is Trustee Strode, or I say it's Trustee Strode. Trustee Hurd.
Hi, I made a personal commitment, Madam President, that at every one of the meetings, when you give me a chance at the end, I want to say, if you've been teeter-tottering in your mind about whether to send your babies to Lansing for us to educate them, come on home.
Come on home. Thank you, Trustee Hurd. Thank you. All righty. At 10:42, meeting's adjourned.